Thank you, Mr. Scavelli. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Wooster City Council held by Zoom video conferencing and YouTube this Monday, March 15th, 2021. It is after 7:30 p.m. The next meeting will be scheduled for Monday, April 5th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Paulo, as clerk of council, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Ansel,
Here.
Mr. Bostancic,
Here.
Mr. Cavan,
Here.
Mr. Myers,
Here.
Mr. Sanders,
Here.
Mr. Silvestri,
Here.
and Ms. Warden.
Here.
Nice to see everyone. We do have a quorum. The agenda will remain as presented. And just a note, I heard people talking, we do have an executive session at the end of this meeting. But at this time, as we always do, I ask you to stand and join the members of the City Council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Next up on the agenda is I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes of the March 1st, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
Scott Myers moved to approve. Who was the second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 And those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and the minutes of March 1st, 2021 will be approved. Now we'll turn our attention to Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Hopefully enjoyed having it light into past 7 o'clock tonight, despite losing an hour of sleep Saturday night. So hopefully the sunshine will continue to be a harbinger of March leaving like a lamb and not going out like a lion. So welcome this evening.
Thank you there, President Beitendijk. I appreciate that. And nice to see all council members present tonight. Appreciate your service to our community. Just wanted to bring you up to speed since our last gathering. Some of the things that we were dealing with here on the administrative side of things is the sludge tank at the wastewater treatment plant is getting closer to completion. The roofing fabric was put in place on Friday, March 5th, after a few postponements due to weather / wind conditions. That thing was a huge sale, and if you had too much of a breeze, it would, I'm afraid, been taking a few people for a long ride with it. But everything went fine, everything got in place, and right now we just need to finish doing some piping for the internal tank and to the outside, and then finish up some roof details. And then we'll fill the tank with water to check for its integrity, and then hopefully have it in use by June or July of this year. So things are progressing well now, and we're so pleased for that. We've had a discussion about the Arts and Culture District. Joel and I were on a telephone or a Zoom conversation with folks in the community. It's the district that was identified in our latest downtown plan, Main Street, the Arts Center, College of Wooster, and our admin team and other people who were interested were involved. And the intent was to see how to keep this thing moving once things get back to normal. We had a visit with Scott Wiggum about subjects important to our city. Some topics were capital grant availability for the community center or fire station #1 improvements, NEPCO 208 facility planning area boundaries, income tax discussion at the state level, where they're discussing the tax where you live or the tax where you work. scenario, and we weighed in on that. And then just a few other topics that came up during the conversation. We held a leadership training event for our management team. Chief Fisher helped orchestrate this. A gentleman by the name of Paul Butler. Matt heard him at one of his leadership training events through the FBI Academy, and told us about Paul and said this guy is a great speaker, really conveys a super message about leadership and culture. And so we decided to bring him in to talk to our management team, and it was definitely time well spent. He was an excellent motivator and really a very common sense thinker. So thanks, Matt, and the PD team for helping orchestrate that. And then lastly, we held the second Let's Chat meeting on Wednesday, March the 10th. Myself, Mike Beitendijk, and Bill Bostanzik were present, and we had 4 people sign up for the event. And we had good discussions, and I'll let President Beitendijk or Councilman Bostanzik go into details if they wish to do that. All right. And then, as President Beitendijk and others have said, we do ask for a executive session this evening to talk about the disposition of property, which is allowed in an executive session format. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you there, President Beitendijk. I appreciate it. I do not see Mike at this point.
He's coming back. I got him.
Okay. Reaching into the Ethernet.
He should be back on here in a second, hopefully.
Okay.
I think it's probably him calling me. John Scavelli.
Sounds like Mike's having the gremlins.
We could just skip ahead and I can make a motion to waive the hearing for the liquor permit and we'd be moving right along.
Soon, so.
I did hear his voice.
We may have to have Mr. Ansel step in.
So we don't know what's going on. What's going to happen, I think, here is he's been trying to join. I've been trying to let him in. It won't let him in. So we're not sure why. Oh, here it looks like we have him. There we go.
There we are.
There he is.
Darn it, I was getting ready to go.
Yeah.
We weren't talking mutiny, Mike.
Oh, there we go. How frustrating. I'm sure you had many interesting things to enlighten us about, and I'm sure everyone was enlightened except for me. So I apologize. I missed that, Mr. Mayor.
That's all right. I think we got her all covered. You can see her on the YouTube feed later on if you have questions.
All right. Well, we do have a liquor license petition for Sticks acquisition. If you wouldn't mind reading that, Mr. Paulo, I would certainly appreciate it.
From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, request for a D5I permit from Sticks Acquisition LLC, 1034 Country Club Drive, Worcester, Ohio, 44691.
Okay, as you know, and I know Mr. Cavan will probably recuse himself on this because if I remember, Sticks LLC is a limited liability company affiliated with his employer, Bueller's. So anyways, we will note that you've recused yourself, Mr. Cavan.
Thank you.
We can either request a hearing here in Worcester, since it's the county seat, request a hearing down in Columbus, or waive having a hearing on this application. What's your pleasure, council?
Motion to waive hearing, Mr. President.
Motion to waive hearing by Mr. Ansel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. If you would, Mr. Paulo, please call the roll on the motion to waive hearing.
Ansel,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Warden.
Yes.
All right, if you would contact them, Mr. Paulo, and let them know we'll waive the hearing on this application. Mr. Scavelli, do we have any members of the public wanting to weigh in on anything on the agenda?
We do not.
Okay. Then moving right along to item 5 on the agenda, committee reports. I don't think we have any committee reports, but we do have a public hearing regarding rezoning and annexation on property that is actually owned by the city of Worcester. And I would assume, Mr. Sanders, you will be conducting the public hearing on this.
That is correct.
And with that, I'll turn the floor over to you, sir.
Dyke. This will go ahead and open up a public hearing related to both annexation and rezoning of property on Geyer Chapels Road and Daisy Way. First part of this will start as we'll address the annexation item first. And what we have is we have the 134.215 acres that the city purchased here last year, 4 parcels. And at this point, I will open the floor to anyone that wishes to speak for the annexation. Okay, well, I'll open the floor up for any of those that wish to speak against the annexation.
Boy, Craig, you sure know how to throw a public hearing.
I would much rather be having them like this than some that I have been to. So at this,
You would think at least our agent would have spoken at least that he was in favor of this.
I can if you like. What I'll tell you is that
Mayor, the
you're all
property
familiar with
owner.
this property. You're all familiar with this property. The why it needs to be annexed. The reasons we're doing the annexation, the rezoning. If you have any questions, we have both Joel and Andrew here that would be able to field those. But I think we've all talked about this quite a bit, and I don't really think there's a whole heck of a lot to add to it.
all right, well, thank you, Mr. Scavelli. And with that, we'll move on to the second part of this public hearing, which is related to the rezoning of that property. Being the new zoning is being requested as I-2, which would be consistent with the intent, and B, more importantly, the adjacent properties that are already in the city of Worcester. And again, I will open the floor up to any that wish to speak for the rezoning.
If no one else is going to talk, I'll just say, I'll just echo what I said before, so.
And with that, is there anyone that wishes to speak against the rezoning? All right, well, again, thank you all, and we'll say that we'll conclude this public hearing related to the annexation and rezoning of the 134 acres on North Guyers Chapel and Daisy Way. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sanders. Appreciate you conducting that. It'll be a real boon to the city of Worcester, and I think we will start reaping the benefits sooner than later. So look forward to what we have been able to provide for the city. There is no unfinished legislation, so we'll move down to item 7, new business, which strangely enough has to do with the ordinance accepting application for the annexation of territory. This will be presented by Mr. Sanders. It's slated for 3 readings. But before I get there, I will, or get to you, Mr. Sanders, I'll ask Mr. Paulo to please read the title.
Ordinance number 2021-12. An ordinance accepting application for the annexation of territory located on North Guyers Chapel Road and Daisy Way and contiguous to the corporation limits. John A. Scavelli, Director of Law, agent for petitioner Jonathan Millay, on behalf of the city of Worcester.
All right, Mr. Sanders, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this is the request for the annexation consisting of approximately 134.215 acres on North Guyers Chapel Road and Daisy Way. This will be a great asset to the community and for our city in terms of providing additional land for further development. And assuming that we accept A, the annexation, and B, the rezoning in the next piece of legislation, it'll be a great piece of property related to potential industrial sites for our community. And so with that, I'll open this up. Well, let me back up a moment. Mr. Scavelli, I do have a question. Is there any reason that this needs to go to 3 or needs to have more than 1 reading?
There is not.
Okay. In light of the situation with this and the fact that this has been discussed at great lengths across the board, and the fact that both the potential this has been approved by Planning Commission, it's been, or at this point it's been looked at, the county commissioners have approved it. I would just motion to suspend the rules of council and place this on 3rd and final reading.
Motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. Mr. Paulo, would you please call the roll on the suspension motion to suspend the rules?
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Bostancic.
Yes.
And the rules are suspended. And Mr. Sanders, I look to you again.
I would motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Second, Myers.
Second by Mr. Myers. Any further discussion? I hope not. We approved to buy it, so I think the least we can do is agree to bring it back in or bring it into the city. So, seeing no further discussion, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Bostancic.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-12 passes. So we have now grown by 132 some acres. So I think this is going to be a wonderful boon to the city of Worcester. And I appreciate the administration's ability to find this property. And I thank the council for having the foresight to expend the funds to purchase it, because I think down the road, it's going to reap benefits that even now we can't probably imagine. So. All right, that brings us to ordinance number 2021-13. It'll be presented by Mr. Sanders. It is slated for 3 readings. But Mr. Paula, would you mind reading this title?
Ordinance number 2021-13. An ordinance amending Part 11 zoning of the codified ordinances of the city of Worcester, Ohio, so as to amend the zoning map at a certain parcel on North Guyers Chapel Road and Daisy Way.
Mr. Sanders, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we've seen in the past, with any new annexation, unless there's a specific request for a specific zoning requirement, the property will come into the city as R1, which is suburban single-family residential. And that is per section 1107.04 subsection C of the city of City of Worcester codified ordinances. With that being the case, thus the request we have in front of us to amend the zoning map and change the zoning to I2, which is general industrial, which again will be consistent with A, the property use, B, with adjacent properties, and was one of the reasons why we brought it into the city limits. So again, I will motion to suspend the rules of council and place this on 3rd and final reading.
A motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. Mr. Paulo, would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Cavan,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended. Mr. Sanders, do you have another motion for us?
I would motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Second, Myers.
Second by Mr. Myers. Any discussion?
I would just like to point out that there's, looks like maybe a typo or some information was transposed on the document marked PC-21-04. The first property owner on the list is Mary Bricker, and she lives in Worcester. So her address is correct, but her city is listed incorrectly. Perhaps that city belongs to one of the other names or businesses on that list. I don't know if it matters, but I just happened to notice that.
Good catch.
Mr. Scavelli, do we need to amend that or can we proceed?
We don't need to worry about that as long as notice was issued properly. Andrew, do we know where notice went? Did we get anything returned to us?
It did get returned to us, a return to sender this morning.
Okay. So that means that they were not notified. Given that, we should probably reschedule the public hearing.
Have we heard from any of the other parties that we notified?
No.
Not neither pro nor against the result. Okay. So yeah, we probably should wait till this 2 weeks and get a hold of Mary Bricker.
Yeah. So what we can do is we can just keep this on first reading, have it go to second reading, and reschedule the public hearing for the next meeting.
Yeah, and everyone's going to have to get notice again.
Okay.
All right. We'll consider ordinance number 2021-13 having its first reading. Let's turn our attention to 2021-10. A resolution will be presented by Mr. Ansel. And it is the resolution has only one reading, so I assume it's budgeted. So before I get to you, Mr. Ansel, I'll have Ms. DiPaolo read the title. If she would, please.
Number 2021-10. A resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to issue payment for services rendered prior to the fiscal officer's certification of the availability of funds and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Ansel, the floor is yours.
Yes, as noted, this is a budgeted line item expense. J. Dickey Design LLC performs our reviews of the Building Standards Department. They've had two expenditures, one for $3,220, another one for $945, totaling $4,165. The original PO as a placeholder was allocated at $760. And as we know, expenditures exceeding $3,000, which is mandated by the Ohio Revised Code. We have to have council approval for encumberment of funds. So again, the services have been performed for the public purpose. We are just a little late getting the funds encumbered, thus the resolution before us this evening. So very straightforward, services rendered, and we have these type of expenditures occur from time to time. Seeing no issues, I would motion to adopt Resolution 2021-10.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Ansel. Is there a second?
Second, Myers.
Second by Mr. Myers. Any further discussion?
Mr. Ansel, Scott Myers. What
Yes.
were the services provided? I didn't really get a lot of detail on the invoice, and I couldn't find the company in the registry or on the website.
They audited and reviewed. Joel, go ahead.
They're plan reviewer. He's one of our plan reviewers. So, any large or technical plan reviews for the building department, they just didn't, they thought they carried over a PO. There wasn't enough in the PO. So when they got the bill, there wasn't enough left in the PO that they had from before.
Thank you, Joel.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, Ms. DiPaolo, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Danzig,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
and Cavan.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 2021-10 passes. Resolution number 2021-11 is next on the agenda. Now, this is one that's prepared by the state of Ohio. So I never know whether it's a 3 reading or which it probably should be since it's not necessarily budgeted, but because we're appropriating funds. Would you agree with me, Mr. Scavelli?
I would, Mr. President.
All right, so we'll treat it as 3 readings, but obviously we can suspend the rules. Before I get to you, Mr. Bostancic, I will ask kindly if Ms. DiPaolo would please read the title.
Resolution number 2021-11. A resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the resurfacing of State Route 302 between Grant Street and Lattisburg Road and a portion of Dover Road, State Route 83, within the city of Worcester, and appropriating the necessary funds and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Bostancic, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. This piece of legislation will authorize the Director of Administration to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation to resurface parts of State Route 302 which lie within the city of Worcester limits. As part of ODOT's urban paving program, ODOT will cover 80% of the cost to resurface State Route 302 between Grant Street and Ladysburg and Dover roads Grant Street and Ladysburg and Dover Road between approximately 750 feet east of Gossard Drive and the Worcester Eastern Corporation limit. This project will include pavement repair, concrete medium replacement, guardrail upgrades, and pavement markings. On June 1st, 2020, City Council passed resolution number 2020-26 that authorized the center enter into this cooperative agreement with ODOT for this project. Total estimated cost to the city is $160,000 and $738. The administration is requesting that this resolution be passed ASAP as ODOT plans to let this project on April 15th of 2021. And if the administration has anything they would like to add to that, please go ahead.
I'll entertain a motion from you, Mr. Bostancic.
Okay, since the consensus is we need to have 3 readings, I would like to take this to third and final.
All right. So a motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Cavan.
All right, seconded by Mr. Cavan. Mr. Paulo, would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
and Bostancic.
Yes.
The rules are suspended. Mr. Bostancic, do you have another motion for us?
Yes, I move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second that.
I saw Mr. Cavan go first. Any other discussion, questions?
Yeah,
This
it's me again, the grammar police tonight. I found another error. It's on the final resolution document in 2 places, and it might not matter, but the amount is written and then also written numerically. It's written incorrectly. It says 106,738, and it should read obviously 160,000. And so it's on both pages incorrectly.
Okay. Oh, may I just say ODOT sent that document over?
I wasn't blaming you.
I just want to say that wasn't me.
We can amend that here on the floor. That's essentially a Scrivener's error, and that is not something that is going to be detrimental to the meaning of the document. Since it was caught, we can correct it. They would just take a motion to amend.
I move to amend to correct the spelling of the amount, the dollar amount on the resolution.
I'll second that.
all right, motion to amend the dollar amount from what, 106 to 160?
Yeah, it actually says 106th, like 6th
Yeah.
place. So,
Essentially changing the H to a Y, correct?
yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Ms. Warden, amend, second by, was Mr. Cavan?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion?
That's actually in 2 places in the document, one on the first final resolution page, and then a second place in the now therefore at number 1.
Yeah, okay. Well, at least the actual numerical figure is correct. So it should mirror, the written words should mirror the what's the numerical amounts, correct?
Correct.
So that would be the amendment. Any further discussion? would you please call the roll on the amendment, Ms. DiPaolo?
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
and Bastancik.
Yes.
All right, the resolution has been amended to correctly reflect in written form the dollar amount. Now, there is a motion on the floor, but I think we probably need to restate that to move to adopt the resolution as now amended. So if you wouldn't mind making a motion somewhat to that effect, Mr. Bostancic.
I motion to adopt the amended resolution.
All right, motion to adopt the amended resolution. Is there a second? Mr. Cavan?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt the resolution as amended?
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
and Bastancik.
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-11 as amended passes. Boy, we haven't had that much excitement over a resolution in a long time. So thanks to Eagle Eye Warden.
I thought that was usually Silvestri's thing.
What?
I thought that was usually Councilman Silvestri's thing.
Well, Councilwoman Warren must be channeling Silvestri tonight. Scary thought there, Warden.
It appears to me as though it costs us $54,000 though, but okay.
Yeah. So true. We now turn to resolution. Speaking of Mr. Silvestri, we now turn to resolution number 2021-17, which is budgeted and will be presented by Mr. Silvestri. And you didn't think it could get any more exciting than when we're now talking about biosolids production. But before we get into that subject matter, would you please read the title of the resolution, Ms. DiPaolo?
Resolution number 2021-17, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into an agreement for the purchase of a boiler for Class A biosolids production and allowing for immediate enactment.
All right, Mr. Silvestri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. By way of introduction, there's a description here that I will just go over briefly. I'll remind everybody that our ADS boiler system improvements is the name of this project, and that stands for our anaerobic digester system. As you know, we have the ability to produce power, but part of that process involves maintaining a temperature for the material that we put into the unit. So one of the benefits is through the EPA, we do have a Class A biosolids product that we can then put on farm fields, and we don't want to lose that. After speaking with our manager, Nathan Coy, he informed me that it really is a wonder that we made it through the winter when maintaining that temperature is a lot more critical. So I know we had a little bit of an early taste of spring that seems to have kind of subsided a little bit at the present time with the weather, but we have our CHP unit, our combined heat power unit, and that is fully reliant on a single boiler right now. So as I said, due to kind of the shoestring that boiler is on, what we need to do is acquire a replacement boiler so that we can send that original boiler out for repair. Because the company listed MW Robinson is familiar with our current process and has helped us with certain aspects of that in the past, they are really the specialized technology company that our manager has selected to acquire this from. If there are further questions, I know Mr. Coy is online and can answer those better than I could. Thank you. I do move to suspend the rules tonight and place this on third and final reading, Mr. President.
It's budgeted, Mr. Silvestri.
it does have a place for first, second, and third reading though, nevertheless. So I was a little confused.
All right, but if you look on the second page, which you've been normally,
I guess I got my
Lied about
typographical
it is
error
not
correction in for the
positive.
evening.
you are going to lose your crown there, Silvestri.
I got one in. I didn't want Jen Warden to get all three tonight. So,
Okay.
okay, well, I move for adoption.
Okay,
second.
motion to adopt by Mr. Silvestri. I saw Mr. Ansel second it. Any discussion?
Can I ask Nate a quick question?
Sure, go ahead, Bill.
Here. In the description of request, it says due to air issues, this is a priority while we sort out best approach on the power unit. Does that mean we're going to at some point replace that with something different?
With the power unit, you may recall last year, part of our process going into 2021 was to get a long-term maintenance contract on the machine. And we're working through those details now because the CHP not only creates power for us, but it creates heat. And this past winter, the one single boiler that we have to do a whole lot of work and it needs some service now. So our plan moving into 2021 was to get a backup boiler anyhow. So we're kind of moving through that process just to make sure that, well, we have those backups. Once we have this Class A, we don't want to lose that because this is an excellent avenue for reuse of the biosolids. And one of the ways we do that is we heat this up to about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. For lack of better words, we're pasteurizing to make this a great agricultural product. So hopefully that answered there.
Okay, so Nate, once so the boiler we have in now is going to send out to be repaired, and we're going to use that as a backup when that's done.
Yep, that's correct.
That's what,
And the current boiler that we have now only operates off of Dominion natural gas. This boiler that we're asking to purchase will run off of our biogas, thus saving us some money and making that the lead boiler. Once we get that in place and get the other one repaired, the current boiler will then be our backup because then it's tied to Dominion and we want to use that as less as possible.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, any other questions?
Seeing that there's nothing further, Mr. Paulo, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
and Myers.
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-17 passes, and I'll say I'm glad we're doing this. Glad that sludge tank is moving along because the other day when it was warm and the prevailing winds, I'll have to tell you on Strawberry Alley, the eau de Koy was very strong on that day. So hopefully it will be minimized come this summer. I will hardly ever think of you again there, Nathan.
No, you can come down and see us. We'll show you the up close personal tour then. How about that?
Good.
All right, sounds good. Although lunch will be off-site. Okay, that brings us to our last piece of legislation. It's a resolution number 2021-18. It is slated for 3 readings. It'll be presented by Mr. Cavan, but Mr. Paulo, one last time tonight, would you please read the title of this resolution?
Resolution number 2021-18. A resolution authorizing the mayor to accept and apply grant monies from the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant JAG program and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Cavan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Yes, it is a grant from, as stated, the Edward Byrne. It's a JAG grant in the amount of $7,263. There is a buy-in with that. In order to receive this, we need to spend that plus an additional $807. The use of this would be to purchase protective equipment, personal protective equipment for our officers, items that would mainly be used for training purposes. And that would replace older equipment that is, as I've been told, 20 years old. So sounds like a great way to use it. It's not something that would be used as Chief Fisher and I had a discussion earlier as a day-to-day usage. Would be more of a training use or an emergency purpose. But other than that, I have a pair of chiefs here. So if anyone has any questions, I think they would be excited to enlighten you.
I have a typo.
Question, what would they be using?
Surprise!
Daniel, you're asleep with the switch.
It's nothing major, but in the very first, or I'm sorry, the second whereas on the front page of the resolution, it just says that it's necessary to purchase protective for all officers. It just needs to be changed to protective equipment. I'm done.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. Thank you.
Very good.
For the record, I didn't type the resolution.
Did ODOT type it?
Yeah, that is the last resolution of the evening, so of course you're done.
Yeah. But it sounds like a great use of monies. The $807 was to be used from monies that were, what did you say it was confiscated money or sale of items that were?
No, it'll come out of the law enforcement trust fund. So
Okay.
this is like it's a 10% match. So our 10% is, I think, around $800 and some change. But we pay the whole amount up front, which will pay out of the law enforcement trust fund, and then they'll reimburse all but that 10% match.
Okay.
Mr. Cavan, I'd just like to thank Assistant Chief Rotolo for the grant application and to point out that Jonathan Millay is not the only one at the administration that can write a grant application. So compliments to both of you on gaining money for the city. We appreciate the effort.
That's a good catch, Mr. Myers. And this was all Assistant Chief Rotolo wrote the grant, applied for it. He gets all credit.
Well, and a tip of the hat to him. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If there's no other questions.
I just wanted to say, I guess, now is this one set for each officer? I was shocked that actually it was even as low as it was, the total $8,000. Does that cover one set for each officer? Because it said all officers. Is that, like I said, a helmet with clear face shield, belt pouches, leg protection, duffel bags? Is that what that is?
Go ahead, Scott.
Mr. Sylvester, yeah, it's going to cover our entire patrol division.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
No further questions.
Nice work on the grant, sir.
Thank you.
I would make a motion to put this on third and final reading.
Okay, motion to adopt motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Cavan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Warden. Would you please call the roll on the suspension of the rules?
Sylvester?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Hansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
Stanzik?
Yeah.
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Okay, the motion to suspend the rules has passed. And you have another motion for us, Mr. Cavan.
Yes, a motion to adopt 2021-18.
Okay, motion to adopt by Mr. Cavan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. Any further discussion? Seeing none, would you please call the roll, Mr. Paulo, on the motion to adopt?
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bastancik,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
and Sanders.
yes,
Resolution number 2021-18 passes. Thank you, chiefs, for attending tonight, and thank you for being so diligent in finding this money. Appreciate it. All right, we do have a request to go into executive session, so I will need a motion and a second to do so, and then a roll call vote. So someone would move to go into executive session to
So
discuss
moved.
property for public purpose. Who was that made that motion?
John Ansel.
Ansel moved to go in executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. Would you please call the roll, Mr. Paulo, on the motion to go into executive session to discuss property for public purpose?
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bastancik,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
yes.
and Silvestri.
Yes.
So the motion to go into executive session passes, so we'll be going into executive session and, not physically, but we will be moving to a different room that's going to just be for those that are entitled to attend the executive session. So, and nothing will take place in terms of any decision-making and until we come out of executive session, and then even then, maybe nothing further will be taken. So let's move to that whatever room you want to call it. It used to be a
There we go.
breakout room, but like anything else, the terms keep changing in this virtual world.
Okay, here goes.
All right, I've lost my camera, but hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, I would motion
Yeah, I
to
hear you.
return to
All right,
normal council session.
motion by Mr. Ansel to go out of executive session, go back into regular session. I saw Mr. Cavan second that.
Second.
Is Mr. Paulo here? Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for waiting for us. You're most kind. Would you please call the roll on the motion to come out of executive session?
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
and Silvestri.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to come out of executive session has been passed. We now are in regular session and now back on the record. This point in time, we will go to the miscellaneous portion, and I'll start with Mr. Cavan.
Oh, nothing to add. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bostancic.
Nothing more to add. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Silvestri,
Nothing, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sanders,
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Mr. Ansel.
Yes, I just want to highlight the productive session that we've had this evening, and I commend the administration for their strategic vision regarding ongoing business expansion and also residential focus for some future potential solutions. Remarkable work, gentlemen, in terms of the very complex opportunities before us. It's just very reassuring to have these type of emerging opportunities, industrial and residential, in a time of crisis within the country, the world, and it's really optimism prevails within the city of Worcester. We're very fortunate. We continue to highlight that, but recognize we're very unique, as President Beitendijk highlighted, compared to other communities, not only in our region, but throughout the United States. And I wanted to also highlight, just for anyone listening, Mr. Doherty provided the bed tax final tally, and it was 50%, 49.2% below. So recognizing the struggles of our temporary residents, service providers, hotels and motels within our area. Consistently, we operate about $280,000 bed tax receipt. Last year, we were at $141,000. So, while we have the optimism in a lot of areas, our local hotels and motels are certainly struggling. So hopefully they'll rebound and get back on a proper track in 2021. But that was the most dismal bed tax performance that I've seen in 16 years on city council. So it's not all optimism, but recognizing that that's a major struggle within our community. Other than that, I'm over and out. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Hunt for Red October, Mr. Myers, and as the captain of the sub said, one ping only here.
I have one ping this evening, President Beitendijk, and I motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
We forgot Ms. Warden. We got to have Ms. Warden.
yes.
So I'll hold that motion in abeyance, but we'll first now turn Eagle Eye Warden in terms of if she had anything else to add.
No, you're lucky. I'm done tonight. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, President.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Myers. Is there a second? Mr. Cavan, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Good night,
We're
everyone. Good
adjourned.
job.
Thank you,
Good night.
one and all.